Hi guys, and welcome to this channel. Those who don't know much about me and my family won't know that my dad's actually going through cancer treatment at the minute. He has Hodgkins lymphoma and he's now had it since I think about April. So we got together and I basically said, like, do you think it'd be a good idea to sort of vlog your journey as we're going through, you know, like from sort of now to the end of his chemo? And he turned around and said, like, he was totally up for that, because anything that we can do as a family to help other people which are going through the same situation as us would be obviously amazing. So the way to do it is, like, we're basically going to be doing a lot of live blogs when he's having his treatment, when he's like physically having his chemo. So I'm going to be doing a lot of filming with him over the next 4 months, maybe 6 months, just so you guys can like see for yourselves what it's actually like for somebody who is living with cancer. Yesterday I asked him a few questions which I put together. Basically just things that I would want to know, and he answered them really well actually. Like, I was so proud of him, because for him to actually sit down and speak about it is hard enough. So he answered them really well. He didn't get upset or anything, and the answers which he gave was really good. So I'm basically just going to crack on with what I've got so far. I'm reading them off my laptop, so if I keep looking down, that's why. This is really awkward for me to do as well, because it's not something that I've ever done before. I'm fully aware that I sound like a rat on helium, but there's nothing I can do about that, and the point is in getting the message out to other people, so I'm pretty sure people can look past that. We're going to get on straight away with the questions, because I don't want this to drag on and be harder than it already is. So the first question that I asked my dad was, what was your first reaction when you was told you had cancer? His answer were devastated. He didn't know what to expect for the future. He was frightened about what was going to happen. One of the main questions which he kept asking himself was, is it curable? And he was also apprehensive about the treatment, because obviously not knowing what chemo is like is quite a scary thing. So yeah, that was his answer to that question, which I think pretty much sums up how anyone would be feeling if they found out that they had cancer. Just like absolutely petrified. The next question I asked him was, which type of cancer do you have? This one's quite a long answer, so brace yourself. He put, the first time around he was diagnosed with Hodgkins lymphoma in his neck, stomach, behind his tongue and in his lungs. He then had a mid-scan in June which showed that he was put into remission. So I think it was like he started his chemo in April, and in June he had a PET scan. Basically they do it just halfway through, which showed that his cancer cells had practically reduced to nothing. So he was obviously like well over the moon with that. It was amazing to think that like the cancer had just shrunk in a matter of like 3 chemo sessions, not even that. So yeah, so the cancer had shrunk and he got put in remission. He then got taken off of his main chemo, which is the chemo he was on was ABVD. He got taken off the B and he kept having the AVD. And until the end of his actual treatment. So he was still having some sort of drugs pumped into him, but it wasn't the strong hitting chemotherapy. Once the treatment was finished, he had to have another scan, which is another PET scan, to basically confirm that the cancer was still, wasn't there. So he had his PET scan, and we had to wait a few weeks for results, which were quite scary because obviously we were like over the moon that he were in remission, and it all depended on this last scan. Basically, it highlighted a new lymph node, which had shown up in his sort of chest area, sort of around here. That showed up as cancerous, and we wasn't entirely sure what sort of cancer it was, because basically the nurses were saying like the treatment that he was on for lymphoma, if it was lymphoma, then it should have been hitting this part of his body as well. There's no reason basically why that cancer should have grown. So they were sort of concerned as to whether it was lymphoma or not. So basically that highlighted that I needed another biopsy. So we carried out biopsies, and basically they went down his throat with a camera to collect the lymph node tissue. It came back as unsuccessful. They wasn't able to obtain a biopsy. Basically they either didn't get enough lymph node tissue or they got the wrong one. So meanwhile, while all this was happening, my dad started with a really dry, irritable cough, which was quite concerning for me, my sister and mum, because obviously that wasn't normal. When he first went through his treatment, he didn't have any signs of like being poorly at all. So like the fact that he was starting to get a cough, like speaking became really hard for him, because he's coughing when he talks, which isn't right. Like he can't breathe properly. It's just quite a scary time. So we was like, what is it? He got put on antibiotics and stuff to try and clear it up in case it was a chest infection, and literally nothing cleared it up. So the doctors then confirmed that that was part of the cancer. Anyway, after basically he went back to the doctors basically to tell him that he was having this difficult time breathing. He was also coughing up blood as well, which isn't nice, but I am going to tell you that. They then carried out a further biopsy, exactly the same way as the last one, which we was very like dubious about, because it was like, look, you need to get it right. He's clearly getting worse. We need you to sort this out. They eventually went down his throat the same way as they did on the last biopsy, and they obtained a readable one this time. We had to wait for quite a while over Christmas, which was horrible, for results and stuff. It wasn't nice, and we obviously were on edge the whole entire like festive season. It wasn't great, but we then got told by the guy who basically went down his throat with the camera wasn't a cancer doctor, but he thought it was acceptable to tell my dad just before he was having the biopsy that it's more than likely lung cancer, which obviously if anyone knows of anyone affected by lung cancer, it's a completely different type, and treatment is generally a little bit more out there, and it's just something that you don't want cancer at all, but you really don't want lung cancer. So we were like obviously panicked, and as a family it completely crushed us for weeks on end till we got the results back. We were completely scared, didn't know what to do with ourselves. Anyway, the biopsy came back, which revealed that in fact it was non-Hodgkins lymphoma. So whereas before he had Hodgkins, this is non-Hodgkins. I'll get on to the difference in a while. But basically his is called non-Hodgkin's diffuse large B-cell lymphoma. Now we was like, obviously, why did you tell us that he has lung cancer? And the nurse was like, yeah, that shouldn't have happened. He's not in any way, shape or form qualified to do that. So we've obviously been through quite a rough patch like over the last few months. But that's basically the type of cancer my dad's got. A lot of people will be asking, what is lymphoma? Lymphoma is basically a form of cancer which affects the immune system. It's like a white blood cell. There's two types of lymphoma. There is Hodgkins and non-Hodgkins. My dad's had both types. It started out as Hodgkins and it's now non-Hodgkins. Next question, what is non-Hodgkin's lymphoma? It's described as a high-grade or low-grade cancer. The high grade means the cells are dividing fast. It's also known as aggressive. So that's the type my dad's got. Basically his B cell is very enlarged and it's growing very quickly. Within a matter of, I think it was a matter of like 6 weeks, I said it grew 2 inches, which is quite a lot. Well, it's definitely a lot. So yeah. Next question, how did you know you had cancer? Okay, so he said he started with swollen tonsils after an operation to take them out. Everything was okay. Literally around 2 months later he started getting lumps in his neck. After he went to the doctors he got referred for a biopsy, who then came back and told us that it was cancer. In between that we had a lot of trouble as well, because we got told it was cancer and then the day after we got told it wasn't cancer, and then the day after we got told it was cancer. So it was like them 3 days were an absolute emotional roller coaster. We were like devastated the fact that he'd been diagnosed, and then we got told that it wasn't cancer. So it was like, hang on a minute, like, what do you mean, sort of thing. And then we got told, actually, yeah, Leeds have confirmed it is cancer. They're the cancer specialists. So the next question that we're going to go on to is, does cancer hurt? My dad answered with no. He hasn't had any pain with cancer. He just feels quite tired. If anything, he's more emotionally drained by it all. He seems to be getting upset quite a lot, and he's just sort of changed quite a lot as well. So yeah. Next question, how often do you have chemo? So he did have chemo once a week, every 2 weeks. It normally lasted around 4 hours. Now his chemo consists of staying in hospital for a full week, up to 7 days, and he has to have chemo being put into him all the time throughout his stay. Once he's had his treatment, so he'll have it once a month for 4 months. Once that's finished, and if all of the traces of cancer have gone, he's got to have a stem cell donation, which was originally going to be done by himself. So they was going to take out his white blood cells and then put them back in at the end of his treatment. Just because of the nature of the cancer now, he can't have that, so he's got to have a donor, which I'm guessing the charity which I campaign for, Anthony Nolan, will be doing that. Next question is, do you feel any different now you have cancer? He says physically he feels more worn out. He feels very angry towards his illness, because obviously, like, who wouldn't? Like, I guess the main question anybody will ask themselves is like, why me? Why is it happening to my family? And which is more or less what he asks himself every single day. So yeah. The next question is, how does it impact your family and friends? He put immensely. The stress levels have gone up. It's a very upsetting and concerning time for us. If anything, it has made us stronger, and our family bond has become even stronger. I've realised who has been there throughout everything. So yeah, that basically covers it all, I think. We've become such a strong family, like we stick together and we take every day as it comes. Some days he has really good days, some days he has really bad days, but no matter what, we're always there for him. So I think that's like the main important thing, really. Moving on, can you still get on with your normal day-to-day activities? He answered, as time has gone on, he's found that he's had to cut down on activities, so he can't go in the garage anymore and make his furniture like he used to do, purely because he gets tired. Also, the dust as well with going in his chest just isn't worth going in. So he also said he still goes to the gym on the odd occasion because he finds it a stress release. So I do a lot of training with my dad. I do have some clips as well of when we were training together, which just shows you like how fit he actually is. Like, you wouldn't think he had cancer by looking at the clips that I've got. The next question is, can you get on with your oh sorry, I've already asked that question. The next question is, how often do you have your treatment? We already answered that earlier on. It's going to be every once a month for 4 months. And the question after that is, what are the expected side effects from your treatment? Okay, so we've been told to expect him to be quite tired. He will feel sickly this time round because it's going to be really strong chemo what he's having. Like I said, he's going to be in hospital for up to 7 days, and throughout his entire stay will constantly be pumped with chemo. So yeah, we can expect mood swings, which we got last time. He had more mood swings than a woman last time, which were quite, like, it was just mad really to see him like that, because anyone who knows my dad knows that he's such a gentle giant, and to see him how he was last time were just quite heartbreaking really. So yeah, we're due to expect some mood swings, which I'm pretty sure we've kind of learned how to deal with them now, and I think my mum has as well, seeing as though she's grown up with, well, she's not grown up with, she's had to deal with me and Rich growing up. So yeah, we can cope with them. Loss of hair again, which he had loss of hair last time. He lost his eyelashes as well, so we're probably due to expect all of that. Again, this time it's not going to be a shock because we're used to seeing that, whereas last time it was really upsetting to see him lose his hair. Change in the colour of the skin, because the nurse said he might go a bit yellow, a bit like jaundice, I think that's how you say it. And change in his weight, so he could either lose weight or put weight on. At the minute he has lost weight from his last chemo. He put weight on last time and he's definitely lost a lot of weight since then, so I'm hoping that he does put a little bit of weight on. And the final question is, what's keeping you motivated to keep fighting? And he basically answered it with life and family, which says it all. So yeah, those are the questions which I put together for him. Like I said, there'll be a lot more videos to come. The majority of the videos that will be like after this one are definitely going to be videos of the actual footage of him in the hospital, of him having his chemo. A lot of it is going to be footage of him after chemo as well. Basically like follow-ups of how he's feeling, how he's coping with it, has he changed, like has anything changed, has he noticed any changes in himself. This will be like a good thing for him to look back at once he's finished his treatment, and also hopefully these videos can help other families that are going through it as well, because it isn't as horrendous as it sounds, and hopefully you guys will see that by watching these next few videos that I upload. If you do want to keep updated with all of the updates that I post, then if you click the subscribe button and also give the video a like. I'm going to be posting it on Facebook, so if you can also share that as well so other people can see it. So yeah, I'll just see you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye.